flesh is burning in the sun. We will all die together, drown as one we shall fall. We will all die together as we sink down to the bottom of it all. One ill wind, broken spine and skin, holding on to what we find. What we know ain't worse than what's below, and forward is worse than what's behind. We will all die together, drown as one we shall fall. We will all die together as we sink down to the bottom of it all. Take us, please, vengeful sea, in a storm that's all around, all around. Out of breath, still fighting to the death. We may be broken, but we are not alone. We will all die together, drown as one we shall fall. We will all die together as we sink down to the bottom of it all. As we sink down to the bottom of it all. Yeah, as we sink down to the bottom of it all.
Welcome to Raw. I'm your host, Lena, and you just heard We Will All Die Together by Scott Wolfson and Other Heroes. Who's here with me now? Hi, Scott. You're Scott, right?
I am Scott, yes.
Scott. And who are the other heroes?
I'm Chris.
Hi, Chris.
I'm Skylar.
Skylar.
My name's Kirk.
Hi, Kirk. Kirk, right?
Kirk
Did I say
with,
that right?
yeah, two
Okay.
Ks.
Yeah, that's
And
cool.
we have two other members, Matt Larita guitars and Maya Byrne on mandolin and guitar, who couldn't be here today.
Well, Matt's here. You just can't hear him.
He's so quiet you can't see him.
Okay.
They're the only ones that get last names?
Oh, well,
So let's talk about the song that we just heard.
Okay.
We Will All Die Together. You're the songwriter generally for the...
I write all the songs, yes.
You write all the songs. Does anybody get input or...
No, screw
No.
them.
He writes the lyrics and the chord progressions, and then we put the arrangement together over that.
Okay. So how'd you come up with We Will All Die Together?
Well, they wanted to write a happy song.
It's, strange. So, the long and the short of it is that I'm fascinated by historical stories in a lot of cases. And one of the things that I ran across was a story about a slave ship revolt. And I thought it was a good metaphor for a lot of what's going on with people nowadays. And it's kind of an interesting philosophy that I'd rather die standing up for myself than allow someone to take control of me. So, a lot of happy stuff. So,
In a way, you're not dying alone. That would be happy.
well, that's one of the fun things about it is that when we play the song live, to have everybody sing "We Will All Die Together" with smiles on their faces and everything else like
Yeah,
that.
you know, you're not being alone. Yeah.
It's a good wholesome sing-along.
It is fun for the entire family.
We do it at weddings.
Exactly, but not at bar mitzvahs.
Well, and the folk music traditions are full of songs of rebellion and songs about disasters. So this kind of goes hand in hand with that.
So now you mentioned folk music. How would you describe your sound? Folk?
Metal.
No.
Death metal, I think, really.
Indie folk chamber pop.
Yeah,
with the chamber
it's
pop.
tough. The indie folk rock thing is basically, I guess,
Yeah.
the closest that we come to it, because we come from a folk basis, but we've got other elements from other styles of music that get thrown in, blues and pop and country, just a wild array of things. And that's one of the cool things about playing. I mean, we've got the four of us here today, but with the six of us, a lot of different musical influences come in.
Oh yeah, we come from all different backgrounds.
And so it's kind of an amalgam of a lot of different styles, but based on a folk tradition. So
That's interesting. I want to come back to that about your influences, but now we're going to hear Life in a Day.
That was life and a day, and we wanted it that way. There's not a soul around to bring us down. It was what we were taught. It seems everyone forgot, and now we're left escaping this old town. The human race will be gone, no need to grieve. You and I can be our own Adam and Eve. We'll be starting at the ending of the world. There is peace to be found when there's no one else around, and time enough for us to start again. Though this might be quite rough, having you will be enough. Remember what we've lost every now and then. The human race will be gone, no need to grieve. You and I can be our own Adam and Eve. We'll be starting at the ending of the world. Well, it may not work out, but there's no more room for doubt. We can't repeat the actions of the past. So remember everyone and the terrible things done. So maybe this time we can make it last. The human race will be gone, no need to grieve. You and I can be our own Adam and Eve. We'll be starting at the ending of the world. Starting at the ending of the world. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Na na na, na na na, na 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 na, na na na, na na na, na 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 na, na 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 na, na 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 na, na na na, na na na, na 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 na.
Life in a Day. Life in a Day. I do love the sound. It's definitely different. So let's talk about your influences that, have made you this fabulous sound that's very original and different.
Well, Scott and I met through a mutual friend, and we had both been involved with a Greenwich Village songwriter named Jack Hardy, who ran a songwriters exchange. So coming through that, we had common ground. And after Jack passed away, they had a memorial concert for him, and Scott asked me to play with him, and it carried on from there.
And that was the first connection. And then,
Well,
Actually
the first
not.
connection.
The first connection was Scott and me. We had been in a band together back around 2000, 2001. And that band was straightforward pop, wasn't it?
yeah.
Pretty much like snickering, grinning pop music with electric guitars and everything jangling. But Scott and I come from two completely different backgrounds. He's in that pop and post-punk kind of vein, and I'm classic rock and blues and jazz. So, we never the twain shall meet, but somehow we manage to think alike more often than not.
For me, I started when I was a kid playing my own stuff. I started when I was 13, performing my own songs. And the stuff that I listened to back then was a lot of the folk and the songwriters, James Taylor, Paul Simon, Cat Stevens, those kinds of people.
The Limelighters.
Limelighters, yeah. But we were talking about, like, Lou Reed was a big influence on me. Velvet Underground was a big deal. I was huge
Elvis
also
Costello.
into punk stuff. Yeah, Elvis Costello, the post-punk new wave stuff.
XTC.
Yeah, a lot of the stuff from England as well. Peter Gabriel, the early Genesis stuff, but like even groups like Squeeze, So it's like I think that there's good music everywhere, and so I think that to limit yourself to just one particular genre just is a disservice. And the fact is that if you like a lot of different things, you bring those things in.
Genres are made by people who are copying innovators.
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head there with good music is good music, whether it's country or rock, pop music, so it's there. And how do you feel about it? How did you fit in?
I met Scott. He just kept showing up to random shows I was playing in the city.
You were a groupie? You were a groupie?
Yeah, Scott loved me so much.
Yeah, this is
So
all.
is
This
it-
is why I have a restraining order against him.
Come on, show
This
them
is
the
all a
tattoo.
fantasy. No, but we. You want to talk about?
Well, yeah, I music direct a charity concert series in the city called Leave a Lasting Mark, and Scott played a couple of them, and some mutual friends of ours played a couple of them. Maya Byrne played, our mandolin player. She played. That's how I met her, and so we just became friends, and then I got to.
roommates.
Then we became roommates at one point.
We had our own
And so,
sitcom
yeah.
for a while.
Oh,
And so when Scott was getting ready to make the first record, he brought me along to play some drums and co-produce, and it's been a match made in heaven.
And once again, it's a lot of the same things where we overlap in some styles and not in others. And so people will bring things in that I wouldn't necessarily have thought of. I actually come in with a formulation in my brain of the way that I think the song should sound. And I ask them to do something better than that. And usually,
It never comes out the way Scott envisioned
so
it.
there is some participation
Oh,
from
yeah.
you
Oh,
in
yeah.
Everybody
collaborating.
puts,
Okay.
Yeah.
Scott will bring in the recipe and start the stock pot, and then
And you
it's
guys
stone
mix
soup.
it up and watch it.
Well,
Yeah,
we'll play with the music. And
We all come up with our own parts and figure out how they're supposed to fit together.
and a lot of that has to do with the varying styles, whereas people will bring something in. One of the songs on our album is a blues hard country number, and it's not the way that I envisioned it when it started, but I enjoy it now, and it's because of the other styles that the folks
Now this
have.
this is different from your other songs. What we're going to hear now, "Unloved
Yes.
Daughter." Okay, and this is just the two of you.
Correct.
So let's let the viewers hear this, and we'll come back and talk about that being different. So stay tuned for "Unloved Daughter."
She's an unloved daughter across the water, and looking out I feel as if I can see her. She lives life very loud underneath a dark cloud. When I close my eyes I think I can almost remember. She tells me a story, a time of lost glory, and I might have been there too. She said that she loved me, or was it just fantasy? 'Cause nothing happened if it all were true. She's an unloved sister, only I ever missed her. Well, she might go away, but she never was here. And I think you would find that she is one of a kind. If you ever took the time now, but no one comes near, and she tells me a story, a time of lost glory. And I might have been there too. She said that she loved me, or was it just fantasy? 'Cause nothing happened if it all were true. She's an unloved daughter, like a lamb to the slaughter. They're gonna raise her up and suck her bone dry, and it must confuse her, the fact that I never use her. When she is happy, I am, and if she's sad, I die. Well, she tells me a story, a time of lost glory, and I might have been there too. She said that she loved me, or was it just fantasy? 'Cause nothing happened if it all were true.
We're back. We're back with Scott Wolfson and Other Heroes. So that was a very different song from the first two. Okay, so this goes back to it's very different. So it's you have so many different sounds. In other words, you blend, and now here you are, a straight shooter, because this is more of a ballad.
Yeah, one of the weird things about my life, I actually used to work in the theater. I went to NYU and I majored in theatrical performance, and strangely enough, I minored in jazz. So my styles have always been kind of all over the place.
Yeah, but that's part of where we mesh. Is I have a musical theater background as well, from a community theater point of view.
And
So I love the theatricality of your
And you
songwriting.
I
play in theater?
pits all the
Yeah.
time.
And are you out of the theater or no?
No, I have been in theaters.
He's a character.
No, I did a little Way the Hell Off Broadway thing with a young lady named Laura Dunn, who's now out in Portland, Oregon. So I've
You've
gotten my
dabbled.
feet. Well, yeah,
Okay.
A theater dabbler.
a dabbler, yes.
One thing that's very engaging, you guys have a lot of fun when you're on stage.
It's kind of a
We try.
backhanded compliment.
The rest of the time,
No,
you're miserable.
why?
Looks like we're having
No,
fun.
you have a lot of fun. It comes
looks like
through.
it.
It's engaging. It's captivating.
thank you, yes.
The whole look of the hats. Like, who came up with that and said, "Hey, listen, why don't we?"
They've been selling hats for years. I don't know
Yeah.
if you know that.
Yes, hats have
Yes.
been
But
we're not the
people
first
been
people to
wearing
wear
for a
them.
long time.
No, but it's definitely a look. You're
Well, the thing is, if especially there are a lot of people who perform that they don't take their appearance as part of what their performance is, and for us that's a big deal. You're putting on a show for people. You're going to work. You dress for work. But the particular style is kind of strange for us because in the folk world, they don't normally dress like this. But I think some of my stuff has to do with my jazz background, So for me, the stingy brim fedora, the vest and tie, that's kind of the thing for us.
it's classic.
I've just loved wearing hats since I was a kid. I always
See,
try to get.
See, I don't have a
strange
top
hats.
of my head, so the hat is
That's true.
actually covering
It's just brain
matter.
there, so yes. Yeah, you should poke it later
We
on. It's
insisted
actually
on
quite
not
fun.
looking at the electrodes all the time. So there's a hat.
Well, and the tattoo is just disturbing.
Well, that's why you wear yours.
Well, that's, yeah. You can't see it through the hair. But
Well, he's just he got his hat
No,
because the rest of us
let's
had
talk
hats.
about this, Kirk.
Yeah.
These are, these instruments are different. They're not in every band that's out there, for sure. Not too many people walk around with the big bass and then you whip out the little ukulele. I mean,
yeah, well, going back to Jack Hardy, I was playing electric bass for years and going through the exchange, and Jack asked me, "Hey, what do you think about the upright bass?" And I said, "Well, I love it. I just never had the money to get one." His brother Jeff had passed away in 9/11. He was a chef at Cantor Fitzgerald. And Jack went and got one of Jeff's old basses. I took it to David Gage and got it set up, and then toured Switzerland and Germany with him. And then
Wow.
in March he passed away. So I had the upright crash course. And then the ukulele just came about from the new record.
Oh, that's right.
Because
Life
I'm
in
a jerk.
Day.
Yeah.
I basically make them keep adding more instruments in and more instruments in.
well, it's good to be unique. Do you want
was
to
the
be just
ukulele
one in the
on Life in-
crowd?
Well,
or-
no,
Yeah.
because the thing is, for me, a lot of it with regards to arrangement, especially when Chris and I get into production mode, a lot of it has to do with what serves the song. And I find that a lot of songwriters, what they do when they record is they just have whoever's playing those instruments play the same instruments on every single track, and there's a oneness to it that is kind of a little less engaging, I think. And so for me, it's like, oh, I had a dream that banjo was on this song, and then all of a sudden, now someone has to learn the banjo to put it on that song.
I put some horns on the record. And,
Do you play the
Yeah.
horns as well? Yeah.
Well, Chris,
all over the
Skylar,
place.
and Matt all played brass in school, so,
Yeah, so-
we had a horn section built in.
And what other strange instruments? There's glockenspiel. What
Well,
else
I mean,
is on
the
there?
accordion story is kind of funny.
Yes,
Because
definitely we have
I
to
was a
talk about
keyboard
the
player.
accordion.
I
Yeah.
was a keyboard player until we put this band together. And about a year after the band formed, I randomly brought in a concertina that I had been toying around with, mostly to accompany my wife when she and I would go to open mics, just to sing covers. I started playing concertina on one of the songs. This is a sea shanty, Brooklyn Mermaids. And it stuck. Scott loved it. He said, "Can you play that on more tunes?" And eventually I had to graduate to the full-size accordion because...
Was that
Scott-
easy? Was it an easy transition, though? I mean,
For me, it was an easy transition because I learned piano and organ, both, when I was
Okay.
a child. And I also have the brass. I played trumpet all through high school. So the accordion, it's a sort of a combination of that. You have the phrasing that you would need in a wind instrument using the bellows, but then the keys of a piano, of an organ.
I love that. You're also talented with all these different instruments. Now, the next song, which is not on the current album here,
It's not on the first album either. It's
Not
not on the
unrecorded,
first album either.
unreleased.
This is
Never
Welcoming
been
the Flood,
recorded.
this album.
Correct.
Okay.
Welcoming the Flood.
So it's not on this, Welcoming the Flood. And it's not recorded yet. This is something that we all have to look forward to. So this is like an exclusive.
This is our show closer.
This
This
is-
is
oh,
a song
okay.
that we don't put on
And
an album
what is
because
the
we
name
want
of
people
this
to come
song?
to shows.
It's called Heart Like a Drum.
Heart Like a Drum.
Ready? Bye, bye, bye to my brain. Bye, bye, bye to all thought. Let's break my heart into pieces. It can't be done with a heart like a drum. 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 Bye, bye, bye. Oh, it says. Bye, bye, bye to my dreams. Let's break my heart into pieces. It can't be done with a heart drum, with a heart like a drum. Bye, 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 forever. And bye, 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 bye to my love. Well, let's break my heart into tiny little pieces. Oh, no, no, it can't be done with a heart like a drum. 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 It's alright. Oh, oh. Say it's alright. Oh, oh. Let's break my heart into pieces. It can't be done with a heart like a drum. Thank you. Good night.
That was Heart Like a Drum. So now, what mood were you in when you wrote that song?
Oh, that came through
Actually-
the exchange, right?
No, that was long before that. Yeah, no, that actually is, I guess, one of my happier songs. No, you know, the thing about that is it's a song about resilience. It's about the fact that when you brace yourself, you're stronger. And so it's about moving on. So probably something happened where I needed to move
Well, I
on.
hope you
about
record
letting
that and
things
that
bounce off
it's
instead of
out
getting to
there
you.
for people because it's a lot of fun. Your energy is great when you're all performing.
Oh, thank
The
you.
theater part definitely comes through. It must be what it is that sets you apart because you're having a lot of fun.
Well, if
and
it's
it
not
shows,
fun,
and
why
that's
do it?
good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, and the other thing is, if you're not having fun, the audience isn't going to have fun either.
Well, it was definitely fun to watch, and it was good to listen to. So this is Welcoming the Flood, Scott Wolfson and Other Heroes. Where can people go and inquire about you
If
and
they-
the album?
If they go to scottwolfson.com, Scott with 2 T's, wolf like the animal, son like a male child. scottwolfson.com. You can find out all the information about us. You can look at the album there. And also, you can contact us through Facebook.
We post all of our shows to Facebook and Twitter. So it's
Okay.
easy to find out where we're going to play.
It really is.
I keep thinking of New Orleans for some reason, and like Dixie music. I keep looking at the top of that.
Our riverboat.
It's great. You're a good combination, everybody
thank you.
together. A lot of bands really don't have that, and you do, so I hope it works well for you as far as being successful.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
So thank you out there for tuning into Raw and listening to Scott Wolfson and Other Heroes. And don't forget to check out the website, scottwolfson.com, so you can listen to the good music that they produce.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.